everybody out there in YouTube, SC Closer here in the Southern Style Studios. Today I was going to talk a little bit about how I approach the fretboard. Maybe it will help some people, maybe it won't. I was watching some videos early this morning, and somebody was saying that he liked to see videos that showed how people approach the fretboard, how, you know, when they're playing leads and stuff, and because everybody looks at it differently. And so I said, well, you know, I ought to do this because I've had a lot of people ask me, especially a lot of beginners and stuff. They ask me, how do I approach the fretboard and how did I know where to play in key. So here you go. I'm going to try to do this. The thing that I want to touch on is, see, now look, as full disclosure here, I don't have a lot of training in music. Okay, I don't know much about music theory. I've learned some as I've gone along. So I've never had any formal lessons or anything like that. I guess you'd say I've kind of learned theory a bit reluctantly because I was just wanting to play, and I went out and played, and you know, I learned how to play from watching other people and asking questions and just sitting there and just messing around until I could make things sound the way I wanted them to sound. Because of that, I didn't really learn a lot about what I was doing. I was just doing it. Over the years and playing in different bands and stuff and being exposed to music, you know, from other musicians that actually know a lot more than I do, I started to learn what it was I was actually doing. And once I started kind of getting a little bit of an idea about, you know, what I was actually playing, then I would get an idea about where you can play certain things and where you couldn't. And the more I learned about it, the more it seemed like your chance of hitting a right note is almost better than hitting a wrong note. I used to always think there was only certain places you could go, and that, you know, and that most of the places you played would be wrong. My thinking's starting to come around on that now, to where you've got at least as good a chance of hitting something right as you do wrong, because there's really so many places you can play stuff. I'm not going to get into it too deep, but I'm just going to tell you how I approach the fretboard. Basically, I see boxes, okay, and patterns. Now, I'm not going to really go over how to play a pentatonic scale, but I play a lot of pentatonic scales, and I can play a pentatonic scale in minor or I can play it in major. Either way I do it, it will fit in play most music. And the main way I think I really first started learning this stuff, well, obviously you have to know your strings. You got E, A, D, G, B, E. Okay, you have to know your strings. Now I'm 2.5 step down, but that's just, you know, generic name of the strings. And some of the first things I learned how to do were bar chords. So when you have you open E, I'll go ahead and turn the guitar on here. Okay, you got your open E there, and then when you bar, you're basically using your finger for a bar. That's just like moving the nut, and you keep that same E shape, right? So that would be your F. You'd have an F sharp. You'd have a G. You come up here, you got an A. You got your B, C, D, and you're back to E. All right. One little shortcut I learned early on, back when I was doing punk rock, is you can play fifths. That would be E, or you can have an E minor. But if you just hit these first couple strings here, it's an E. You know, so you can play it like that. You can play a G. I'm just playing these two strings. Okay, but when you learn these chords, and like I said, they go in alphabetical order. So if that's an E, this is an F. You know, you got an F sharp, you got your G, you got your A, C, D, you're back to E. All right, it's in alphabetical order. You're basically naming that off your top string. If you know that, then you're going to know everything on the bottom string, because that's also an E string. So if this is an A here, this is going to be an A here. All right. Then another thing that helps a lot, well, I'll go in that in a minute. you got your C-shaped bar chord as well. It's like if you're making a C, you just put this finger here, and then you got. I don't know if I can move my fingers out the way so you can see what I'm doing. Some people do it like this. Okay, that's movable as well. So you got your A sharp here, because this would be your A. You got your A sharp, and maybe that's an A bar chord that's movable. I don't remember. It probably is, because this is an A. And then if you move it up one, that's your A sharp. You got B, C, D, E. Okay, you back to A right up here, because this is your octave. When you get up here to 12th fret, that's always your octave. So you're back to A. Okay. All right. The little thing I was getting ready to tell you is, if you know that this is an A here, you skip over the next string, which is actually open as an A, and then you hit this string here when you make. Then you know this string here in this spot is the same note as this. Alright? So if this is an A, this is an A. So if I actually put that in the root of this fifth here, I got another A. Okay? It works all the way down except for with the B string. But if we go to this right here, this is a D chord. I see if you can see it. This is a D. That makes this a D. Actually, you wouldn't make, because this is a half step difference with the B here. So what you would do is that would be a D as well. Okay. So when you kind of learn these little tricks, it starts to help you out, so you can see things. Now I see patterns, and I see boxes. Okay, this is how I approach it. So if you're playing something in A, like that, and you want a solo over, this is the A box. Okay. Actually, it would be the A minor box, but I just call it an A box. Okay? So when you're playing along, and you want to solo, you. Okay, that plays over that. Now, the way I do this when I'm looking for the major boxes is a little bit different. Usually the major box is going to be in front of, the way I do it, it's in front of or behind whichever chord you're going to do. Now if you're making this E style bar chord, your major is going to be right behind it, and it's not going to actually be on the same fret. I think some people say you count down 5. I've never done it that way. I know that I'm barring it here on the 5th fret, right? So I am barring it right here. Oh, am I making that right? I can't tell. Okay. So I'm barring it right there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move to right here. I'm going to be on the fret right next to it. That's just the way I visualize it. And I visualize this as a box, okay? So this is going to be where you play the major. Okay? So if I'm playing along again, see, that's your major. That makes it sound a little bit more country or southern rock style. You know, it works up here too. If you got, that's an A, you can play in here. Okay, same thing. But you can also look at it as you got an A here. Alright, so you can play it right there. That's another way of looking at it. You got a C here. Alright, so you can actually just. But when you do it this way off of these A bar chords, you're actually staying on that front fret, I would call it. So as you're making this chord, you got, this finger's up here on the 3rd fret, making the 5th. You got this one on the 5th fret. You would actually start on the 5th. So you got basically you got like a little box right there for it, and that would have been for a C. That's your C chord there. But you also have a C up here. Oops. Okay. So if you got your C up here, it shows you just drop back. That's how I see it. There's a box here, there's a box here. So alright. So that kind of gives you a little bit of an idea how to approach things a little bit. You got an E, this is an E on an octave, right? You got your E down here. Alright, so if you want to play minor, you'd be in this box. But in this box, this is a G box. This is right behind the G box. And this is a G here. So let's say I'm playing a G, and I want to play major, I'd be. See what I'm saying? It's just how you do it. You got the G here too. If you want to play minor, you can play in this box. Alright. Or if you want to play major, remember major, a minor E pentatonic box is a major G pentatonic box. So if you play in here, you go up. Play up here too. Okay. That's kind of how I approach it. There's also scales. I'm not real sure what you call them. I was always told they were rock scales, and you walk them up and they pass through things. So if you got an A here, you would be up it kind of walks and it passes through. Alright, that's a pattern. So, when you have patterns like that, you kind of figure out other places you can play, Because this would also be and you can look at it like this too, but here's your A. You want to play the major? You're right behind it. That kind of reminds me of a Skinner song where they go, yeah. That's all in A, folks. That's all A major. Okay. But anyway, that's kind of a little primer, a little lesson in how I approach the fretboard. Sorry for the sloppy playing. It's a little early for me. And I didn't have the heat on last night. Got a little cold in here. I woke up this morning. It was a little bit chilly. But in any event, that's how I approach it. Now, there's a lot of other ways of looking at it. And a lot of people don't play pentatonic scales. I think most people do. Some people play major scales. I actually had a friend one time that I met, and he had never played a pentatonic scale. He had always learned majors and played everything on major scales. I think I play some things on major scales, but I never really sat down and learned the scale. The only scale I ever sat down and learned was the minor pentatonic. Somebody showed that to me once, and I was like, that's pretty cool. So I sat down and kind of learned that, and pretty much most of the things I play is based off of that. And there are a lot of guitar players out there that they base most everything they play off of that scale, and which there's nothing wrong with that. There's people making a living doing it, and Ace Frehley comes to mind. Ace Frehley, lived off of that. And there's others, but just saying. Anyway, so that was just a quick little run through. I don't know what else to say. This was actually going to be the 10th video, but I think it's actually going to turn out to be the 9th. I was working on I might go ahead and label it 10. The 9th I'm not quite finished with yet. I was going to do a lesson in the 9th, basically about cues on stage and how to get in and out of things when you're playing, and some tips about giving your singer a break and stuff like that. And I was putting it together, and then I realized I might run into, because I was showing some examples from a video that I had run across of our band playing, and I realized that, well, this could possibly be a copyright problem with me showing too much of that. So I'm trying to trim it down and present it in a way that I don't violate any copyright. So if I get that done, I'll put that up for you. But if you guys have any other questions or anything, if anything I can help you with, thing you think I might can answer or might can find out the answer for you, feel free to ask me, and I might start doing a little bit more stuff where I got the guitars out, or something like that. I like playing. So this is SC Closer. I'm out. See y'all later.